When Joliet was vying for gambling license, was there any other competition within this area for those same licenses?
There was competition. Early on, you needed to be on a river. I mean, that was the crux of the legislation, and what the legislators were trying to do was help towns like Joliet, Aurora, that were these Rust Belt towns that had lost these manufacturing jobs. So it was kind of a targeted program in the beginning. I'm not quite sure if there were other towns that were vying for those licenses close by. I know that Aurora was in the mix and some others. Now, over the years, that's kind of expanded, and the licensing criteria and all of that. But early on, I think there was a competition with just those kind of river towns involved. Mm-hmm.
Other questions? I have two quick questions. Mm-hmm. They have to do kind of with the future. Could we ever do any sort of river walk the way Naperville has? Because we've got the river.
Yes.
Now, granted, the river doesn't look great in spots, but it seems like having a river is a huge asset in terms of potential.
Yes.
Beautifying it, having it a place that people want to live next to. Chicago River used to be horrible.
Yes.
And then they cleaned it up, and now it's a very expensive and very prestigious place to live.
Yes.
So do you see any kind of future for that?
I do. We have about 2.5 miles of riverfront through downtown Joliet, and presently there's very little access to that riverfront. There is a river walk that runs basically south of the Cass Street Bridge, south past the Jefferson Street Bridge to the end of the city property there. All of the plans that we do for the downtown, we look at expanding that, going up the river as far as we can, up to the Ruby Street Bridge, if you will. And so we will eventually, I think, put that in place. But a lot of that, I mean, it's very expensive infrastructure to put in place. I think some towns have done it by getting the developers, like if you were going to come in and do those expensive riverfront condominiums. In terms of getting approvals, a lot of it is conditioned on, okay, you put in this section of the river walk. And so that a lot of those river walks are built out that way, as opposed to just solely relying on public funds. So, and there's other things that are kind of impacting that the city's working on now, particularly north of the Bicentennial Park. There's some land issues there that we're currently working on that once resolved, I think that will open the way for expanding the river walk through that area. Mm-hmm.